I think we're ready to get the quarterly meeting started. So I will officially call it to order at 11:54 a.m. on this lovely Sunday. And I think we have our online going good? Okay. So we actually don't have anything to vote on today, but this is a holdover from all of our slides that we're supposed to establish a quorum. So if you are a member, raise your hand. And Patrick is going to help me count on this side, and I'll help on this side. And I found a 22, and I'm 23. Is anybody in the kitchen? Well, okay, so it's okay. And anybody online? I don't know how to see them. Happy will text me. I don't think that we have a quorum, but I don't think it matters because we aren't voting on anything. So it is what it is, and it's the end of what's that? 23 in the room, and I don't know who else is online. I counted total. Why, somebody walk in? Okay, so we're about 25. Wow, we're getting close. Okay, we're getting close to our 35. Yeah, but he's gone. He just had to leave. All right, we're going to open. I'm going to do a quick chalice. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, I'm Ann Packham, Vice President of your board. Martha, our president, has been on vacation all of August, and she's apparently with Abby today, going to a church up in North Carolina. So I told her, no problem. It's all taken care of. We're all good. So enjoy your time away. So I'm going to do a quick chalice lighting, and then we'll get on to the business. You can see we don't have a huge, long agenda, so we should be out of here in maybe half an hour at the most. Be good? Okay. My chalice lighting is just from our hymnal today. It's number 453 from the back. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Well, welcome everybody. Our very first thing is to actually review our minutes. Those were mailed out. I had hoped that we would have physical copies here to pass around in the room this morning. Unfortunately, Teresa's out sick, and so I don't have any physical paper copies. But did everybody get a chance to read the email and review the minutes from our annual meeting in May? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? I see Joey has moved that. Second? I see, well, you're closest. Lori, I see second. I see lots of people. Stephanie, we have several seconds. So all in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Oh, good. That was the easiest part of the day. All right, so we'll get into the fun part, which is our income statement. And thankfully, we do have Sarah here who will present the numbers of where we are from the last time.
All right, I am the bearer of good news today. So this is the report for our last fiscal year. That's July 1st of 2021 through June 30th of 2022. We are not 100% closed on our books yet. We're 99%. So these figures may change a little bit when we get the last things done, but they're within just a small tolerance. These are your finance team members, Miak and Karen. Trista, Martha, and I are the main component, and Mary Ann serves as an advisor for us when we need to draw on her expertise in nonprofits. All right, so our income. Oh, that's you. I looked at Patrick. I'm like, hello, Patrick. Nope. All right, so the first column is what we actually earned in income. The second column is what we had budgeted. And the third column is the difference. A positive number means that we earned more than we thought we were going to, and a negative number means we didn't. You can see we did very well. Yeah, very well. Thank you to everybody. This is because of you. These are your donations. This is your work. This is the rental committee that has shepherded our renters, got us a new one when we needed it. All of this is because of your efforts. I want to, yes, please, thank you. I want to point out that we budgeted to use $15,000 of our minister reserve for this year. We'll come to that later. Kathy? Yes, so we had anticipated that the renter that we had would pay utilities, but the one that we had at the beginning of the year didn't end up staying, and so we did not charge them for the utilities because they never moved in. And then the current one that we have billed them for utilities, but it didn't come in this fiscal year. So it will show up in the fiscal year that we're currently in. I also should point out the designated and reserve income. This is minister reserve, interest that we earned on our endowment, memorial garden designated donations, so those type of things that we don't consider to be operating funds. Okay. Yeah. This is positive in terms of our budget. We didn't end up the year positive in terms of our, well, let me hold that. And Bob? Excellent. I love having experts in the room. So for those of you online, the question was, are we allowed to have a profit at the end of the year, given that we're a nonprofit? And Bob answered that it's called something different in the nonprofit world. It's called a surplus, and it's totally fine and quite good. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Now let's look at our expenses. Again, these are the same columns. The first column is what we actually spent. The second column is what we budgeted. And then the third column is the difference. A positive number means we did not spend as much as we had budgeted. So couple things to point out to you. The programs and Sunday service, although it looks like it was really on track, we spent quite a bit more on AV equipment for the services than we had budgeted, but we spent less on paying speakers than we had budgeted, in part because of Reverend Tracy. So those two ended up canceling each other out. Let's see what else. The rental expense, we needed to find a new renter mid-year, and so we have to pay a broker fee. And so that negative number is the broker fee that we paid this year. Utilities, we had anticipated that the renter would pay some utilities, so you can see we did overspend in that category. And the maintenance, repair, and grounds, this actually includes the parking lot repair that we did, which could be considered a capital expense. There's no, that definitely falls within the category of capital, which means we could choose to use our capital reserves to pay for it if we wanted to. So including all of that, our total expenses were $185,387. So you can see we ended up spending more than we had budgeted. Sure. Yep, absolutely. Yep. So part of that was technology, and part of it was the office furniture that we had to do in order to make a 3-person office. Okay. Are there any other questions about expenses? Okay, and would you go to the summary page? So our actual operating income, this is not including any of the designated, not including any of the minister reserve, was $175,000. Our actual expenses was $185,000. So if you remember, we allotted $15,000 of the minister reserve to be used as operating income this year. We are not going to need all of that. We're only going to need somewhere in the event of $10,000 to $11,000 of it. So whatever that difference ends up being when we finally, close the books for the year, we'll take that amount from the minister reserve and apply it to this year and come out as zero. All right, are there any questions? Nope, all right, thank you.
I just like to remind everybody about the board, who's on the board, and some of the board goals for the year. We had a retreat among the new board members back in early July. I can't remember. It's not very long ago. So just remind you who's on our board. Obviously, Martha Kirby, myself, Sarah, returning as treasurer, and Lindsay Stroh is our secretary. And then our trustees are Happy, who's doing our online miracles that we do online, Derek, Catlin, and Melanie. So just reminding you who's on your board. And these are the goals that we came up with as a board for this next coming year. So we have our top 3 goals, and then we have some additional goals that are sort of aspirational things we would like to do, but we can't 100% say that we can take on as a board because we are, a small group of all volunteers. So the first thing is we need to update our policies and procedures for lots of different things within the church, including our bylaws. Martha's been on a team of people working on the bylaws on and off for several years. She worked closely with Len Schmidt. Len passed away, and the bylaws committee sort of, didn't really meet for a while. So there's a hope that we can really revise our bylaws because they're pretty old, and they don't include things like technology or internet or, can you vote online? Because we didn't have online back when the bylaws were written. So, those are some of the things that we're working on. We are also working on trying to transform our committee work so that we work more coherently as different committees within the church, working with our staff and get things done in a more cohesive way. So Derek and I have offered to take on that work. It's not fun and sexy. That's not my favorite category. In fact, I hate that kind of work, but I have to do it here and I have to do it at my own job because I realize that's not my strong suit in my real work. So I'm going to use that as a chance to learn it for both. And then our third goal is to, try to outreach to our young adults. We want to bring in, we always say this, we're, 2 miles from UCF. And we want to bring in more people from the 20-something generation up, both just because they don't, as we heard this morning from Zane, nobody knows about this place. They don't know about it. People don't know what UUism is. And also we want to bring in, young families that have children and things to RE. So that's one of the goals that we're working on, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the work that we're doing around that. So then our aspirational goals are things that we would really like to get accomplished, but may not be done as quickly. We want to collaborate more with 1U downtown. They're doing some pretty innovative programming, especially toward one of the goals, which is our young adults. They have a thing called a salon, which is sort of where young people get together. And so we're, kind of working on figuring out how we can collaborate them. Or maybe we do more events together. We really haven't done things with them in the time that I've been a member here, which is 9 years, I think. We haven't collaborated much. We've done some Pride Parade with them and a few things, but the goal is to let's see if we can do some work together so we're not duplicating efforts. And then we would like to work again on the Welcoming Congregation accreditation. So I know that Beatrice and Crystal were involved with that work before the pandemic. And there's a really strong desire that we pick that up again. A welcoming congregation, for those who don't know, is to make it more clear within the community that we welcome LGBTQ plus individuals, and there's a whole accreditation process around that we would have to go through the UUA. It's a lot of steps and it's a lot of work, but it's something that we would like to have done. It's just not the board itself. Board members alone cannot take that on as a task. And then finally, we have some other goals that we hope can get accomplished by various task forces, that means not a committee, not forming a whole new infrastructure, but people who might be interested. And so one of those is enhancing our physical presence like really putting some more time, effort, energy, and resources into making this property even more attractive. And possibly the idea of a community garden came up. And the other one is doing sort of a service auction later in the year, and Lindsay's going to talk about that in a second. So any questions around any of that? Yes. What'd you say, Joy? Thanks. Thank you. Chloe, do you have a question? So yes, the market days, I'm going to bring up on another slide. I think there's some ideas around it. The salon working with 1U is one of those ideas. The concept of the Vespers maybe not resonating with that group. I know that my own daughter, who's 19, said, I've never heard the word Vespers before. I don't know what that means. So there might be a different word or a term. So there's some ideas floating around, but I wouldn't say it's gelled in any particular task force or something yet. But if you would like to be on that task force, we will sign you up. Thank you. Great. All right. Any more questions on that one? Yes, Karen? We don't have that timeline yet. I think we're kind of waiting for Martha to get back from vacation because she's sort of the spearhead of that. But within the year, ideally, we would have everything kind of ship-shape. Great. For those of you who are online, if you missed that, Melanie was saying that she and Martha have met. They've started talking about it. They don't have a definite timeline in place, but hopefully by the next quarterly meeting, we'll have more information to present. But it's starting to work. Same thing with Derek and I. We were going to meet face-to-face yesterday. I kind of bagged out because of my work stuff. But we've started talking about it, and we have another meeting set to start moving. So things are moving, and we welcome participation. So if you want to be part of any of those, if you're really good at policies and procedures and you like to look at bylaws, again, this is like least favorite thing for me to do, then let us know. Call Melanie. Melanie, don't give me a call. Call Melanie. Great. All right. So for those of you online, the conversation is we want to make sure that when any of these policies, procedures, or anything we're working on bylaws, if we're also trying to work toward the accreditation of a welcoming congregation, we make sure that we don't separate those two, that they are very much part of the same conversation. Very good point. All right, move on. Let's see if I can remember how to get here yet. Oh, so religious education. I was also going to print out the order of today, and of course I didn't do that as well. But Carrie is next, and she's going to give us an update on religious education. She's our chair of the RE committee. Thank you.
Hello. So we just wrapped up, or are wrapping up, our summer programming, which is a little more relaxed than during our school year. Our attendance was between 2 to 12 children each week. Sometimes one child actually, but and we had wonderful volunteers who came in to share their skills and talents and interests with the kids. So they had a lot of fun. Starting September 11th is when we'll begin our programming for the upcoming year. We have 3 classrooms, a lower elementary, upper elementary, and middle school age. We're expecting about 6 kids per classroom. We have a pretty good teaching team signed up, so that's really nice that not one person has to teach every week, so we're able to trade that off. We have our staff who are consistently in the classroom each week, plus Judith. We've had, as of publication of this, 2 families register their children, so if anybody's in here with a child in the RE program, please register your child for the upcoming year, even if they don't attend every week. If you expect that they'll come one time, Judith likes to have that information, just, if there's like emergency information, that sort of thing on there, and there's a convenient QR code there for you. So that's it. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, I meant to mention what our theme for the classroom is. It's values-based, so the lower elementary. Why are you waving at me?
In case there were questions.
Oh, okay. So lower elementary is doing spirit play, upper elementary is doing a superhero curriculum, and and that's one I get to teach, so that's cool. And the middle schoolers are doing popcorn theology, which is one that Celia's going to be involved with. She remembers when she was in middle school, loved it. They get to watch movie clips and discuss them, so yeah, it's very awesome. Yeah, it is. It's very cool. You could be a teacher. Sign up. We're doing orientation this afternoon in September 10th.
If you really, this sounds fun to you, or volunteer to be a teacher, because then you get to be in the classroom.
Yes, you get to participate, and you don't have to teach every week. The more of us there are. So, are we taking questions? Okay, good.
Thank you. It's so nice to have a complete RE staff and a lot of energy going on into the next year. I think Paula's texting me. She's trying to FaceTime call. I don't think I can do that and do this. My kids tell me I cannot multitask, and I think that they're right. So I don't know how I raise triplets, but anyway. So Lindsay's going to give us just a few. So we talked a little bit about having a service auction as an aspirational goal. Lindsay's going to tell us a little bit what that could look like, and she's going to be sort of trying to spearhead that, whether we do it within the 6 months, which I told Lindsay in an email sounds a little bit like an ambitious time frame, or maybe we look at a little bit longer time frame since it's a big deal. But Lindsay, do you want to give us a couple words of that, or do you want me to just summarize? You got it. Okay.
Hi, everybody. I have done auctions before, both as a church, as a volunteer, and professionally. Everything from raising big money for millionaires in Palm Beach to little church auctions. But it is a nice way to raise money towards our budget, and it's a nice way to have some fun with some of your favorite people, the people in this congregation. And so when we talk about a service auction, we're talking about things that each of us can offer to one another. For instance, if you are good at sewing things, you say, I could offer you 2 hours of sewing, or I could do some gardening for you, or yes, car wash, babysitting, pet sitting. Those are all services. They could be a painting you've done. All kinds of lovely things that we can do for each other. Have the advantage of being able to look at auction catalogs from other congregations. The one I work with in Columbia, Maryland, does a great big one and makes all kinds of money. But we can have fun with it. It could be, gee, I'd like to take some people with me to my favorite Irish restaurant and we can sing Irish songs together. Or very popular is I'll have a couple of people for dinner at my house on my particular theme. I went to one that was some people who knew all about Native American cuisines from different parts, different nations, and they had a particular Seneca evening that we did that sort of thing. But you limit the number of people that you want to have. There's also things, remember, families. You might want to, I guess this may sound a little sketchy, but we'll need some street walkers. Street walkers are people who go to the favorite places that they like to shop, and they solicit gift certificates and gift cards. And so if you'd like to be a street walker, if you'd like to be a street walker for UU, hey. But the first thing that happens is we get a committee together. And, yeah. But the committee, we would love to have some people that have computer wizardry, because the best thing is to be able to put the items online, and people tell us online what you're able to offer, and we have it written up well, and then people can get it online. And we can even do, people could bid online before the auction. We can do a silent and a live auction. We can either hire a professional auctioneer and his staff to do all kinds of work, or we can figure out how to do it ourselves. So there's all sorts of options. But number one is to get an auction committee together. So if you are interested in being on an auction committee, and I will say that the ones I've been on, we've had some fun with it. We will be deciding what kind of items we want to solicit. Maybe we don't want yard sale items that need repair. We need have a quality standard. We know that First Unitarian is having their auction on February the 4th. So we don't want to have it the same day as they do. And I think we want to concentrate on looking at businesses in this area of East Orange County and Oviedo and Winter Springs and that kind of thing. So we'll need to figure out a date and what we can do, but I think this can be a lot of fun, and it can also bring in some much needed funds. And it can also be a way to reach out to the community. You can bring friends that you might not have been able to yank to a service. You might interest them in an auction committee. If you like to go to the theater, you might have some tickets. It isn't just a gift certificate. You can say, I'd like 2 or 3 people to join me at a night at such and such. Have some friends join you and get to know each other better. That's one of the nice things. Can I answer any questions about auction? Go ahead. The microphone coming.
You mentioned about things that members of the church would effectively donate their services or some such thing. Were you also going to wanting to include donations from businesses
Yes.
in the community?
And what we do is we will write a letter that will be a letter from our congregation, because often a business needs a written request.
Right.
So we would have a letter that you would take with you to the business explaining how it works. And we'd also have our tax exemption letter, which comes through UUA to us, that they could see that we are a nonprofit organization. So that would be part of what the committee would do, would put together that letter. I have examples from 1U. I have a lot of examples from 1U of what we did, so it kind of makes it easier. Any other questions? Well, I hope we'll get excited about it and have fun with it.
So should we put your email address in the notable news? How do people join the task force if they, I'm not calling a committee, right? Because people don't like the word committee. Oh, committee. Task force. Derek, you're signing up or what? Well, let's do it then. Sounds good.
I would think that my home email would be the best.
Okay, we'll get her home email in the notable news, so check out the notable news this week. And if you want to join that task force, reach out to Lindsay.
And again, somebody who can do a computer thing so that people can go on the computer and do this better at computers than me, please. That would be good.
Thank you, Lindsay. I have to say that at our old church in Cincinnati, it was called Heart and Hand Auction there. And when we first were members there, we never went to Heart and Hand because we didn't have childcare. And one year I said, if you would just offer childcare, we would show up. And sure enough, they did. And they had wine, and it was like a night out. And we started spending money and donating to the auction and doing some really, really fun things just because of that little change. So, yeah, we had some of our best times doing things with the Heart and Hand. So I hope we can make it happen. Yes, Derek? That's what the task force can decide. We did do that at our old church, and that was what made it fun. And offering wine at that, people, opened their wallets. So and it made it. They did, and it culminated in much more. It was much more fun than doing some just sort of online thingy. Yeah, we have done it in the past, but it's been a while. Right. Right. So yeah, I think that we'll work on that. But there are ways to do that online. But I think that I really feel like we should have the in-person component because that's what we're all about is community and being together. And it is fun, and we'll have wine. Is that ongoing broadcast? I don't know if we're allowed to say that. All right. Okay, so I'm here representing the marketing committee. Really, some quick updates from the marketing committee because Kelly wanted to start heading out to the Space Coast because they're going to watch the big launch tomorrow. So she wanted to beat the traffic. So I'm going to give you a couple updates from the marketing group. First of all, we've made some enhancements to our website. So now, at least, for example, we have our staff listed on our website. There was just some basic things that seemed really obvious, like who are we? Well, we also have staff here. So we've added Reverend Tracy there and Judith to our website, and there's more website enhancements coming in the coming weeks. This is about our social media presence. So my lovely daughter Amelia, even though she's not an official member of the congregation yet, has been helping out a lot with social media over the summer. So we now have 100 followers on Instagram. Where the account had to be restarted because we didn't have the password to the old account. So we have a new Instagram account. And we're trying to get consistent branding across all of our social media. Our Facebook likes are up. Our post reach is up 94%. That means people are actually reading the posts and maybe commenting on that. And our check-ins are up 33%. I'm not sure exactly what a check-in is, but she's able to sort of see all of these statistics. So if you are on social media and you haven't liked these things yet, we will have a little tutorial to show you how to do that. Or you can pull out your phone right now and just look us up and like us. All right, so Chloe, is something around that? Okay. Oh. That's excellent. I think I sort of knew that in the back of my head, but thank you for explaining that way. And I've never done that, and I'm going to start doing that when I arrive at church, is checking in. So I actually had a friend of mine this week say to me, who's an adult like my age, and was like, "What's UU? What church do you go to? You know, do you believe in Jesus? All this other stuff." She had literally no idea. So I sent her the video from the UUA website, and we're having a conversation. So let's keep raising awareness. These are the two brands that we're using. Obviously, we're using the UUF logo on our materials, but also trying to use the rainbow chalice that was that's the UUA promotes. So we're trying to, again, part of the welcoming congregation is letting people know this is a great place to visit. So we're using both of those brands on our materials. And you can see that we've working on getting some physical materials. So when we decided we would like to have Reverend Tracy or anybody else in the congregation who might want to do an outreach event, we need to have some stuff on the tables, and we don't have any stuff. So we're getting some stuff. Includes things like table runners and flags, that you can put out by your table or even in front of the church here. With the branding on them. We're also having a retractable sign that has the 7 principles on it. Going to be available. So these are all things that are in the process of being purchased right now and should be available here very soon. The 2 events that we have coming up are, we are going to be at UCF Market Days on September 21st and October 5th. Those are Wednesdays. That's where Reverend Tracy and I think some other volunteers from the marketing or from the congregation will be sitting out near the Student Union and just promoting what we are. And letting people know that we exist, because there's a lot of people that don't know. So those are that's just the start. I do believe we're going to have a lot more events coming up in the future, but we needed to have some of the swag first. We had talked a little bit about cup cozies and all these other things, but we haven't quite gotten there yet or have the budget for all of that yet, but that may come in the future. Yes, Karen. I don't know the answer to that. So Karen's asking if for the students that don't go physically to campus, is there some sort of online newsletter or something like that? And I'm hearing from Crystal, no. All right. UCF is tough to reach if you're an online. And I was just saying, we have someone living in our house who's a UCF student who is now swearing off all in-person classes because she can't find a parking spot. So, yes, she went to class this week, couldn't find a spot, and decided to drop the class. So that's a UCF problem, not a problem here. But so it's a start. We're going to attract people who are physically there, but how to get people, that's where it's at, right, is the online presence. So we need to get some of those UCF people, the people in this congregation that are connected with UCF, making sure you're liking our pages and checking in and letting people know about us. You're just hanging out. All right. Awesome. Okay, we have our minister's report. Now, Tracy was just returning back from being at her graduate school stuff. I don't know what you call it, her doctoral program. So she gave a video report. Now, how do I make that play? Patrick, can you make that magic happen? Oh, okay. I hope we can hear it. It was a little windy.
Hello, beloveds. You are getting your minister's report for the quarterly meeting live from Dayton, Ohio. Not exactly live. It's Wednesday right now as I'm recording this, but I won't be able to be with you today. So I wanted to share a few things going on from my end. As you may have heard or will hear from marketing, we'll be doing UCF Market Days in the end of September and the beginning of October. And so we're really looking forward to that. I'm excited to get out there and invite our neighbors to come check us out. We also have midweek Vespers, which is just a time to pause in your busy week. We do that on the first and third Wednesdays, starting at 6:45. And we begin about 7. 6:45 to 7 is for quiet centering. And 7 we begin. We have a short reflection, a prayer, and then time for you to engage in spiritual practices. And so it's just a time to carve out for yourself to be able to get a moment in your week. And I know that our days and our weeks get very busy. So I hope you'll join us for that if you haven't already. If you have, I hope you'll join us again. Tell your friends about it. And other than that, I am up here learning all kinds of things to bring back to you and to put as part of my candidacy packet and my project, which will go on this semester, and the project will be next semester. So again, I miss you all, and I'm up here learning lots of things, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Wow, so technology works. That's awesome. So that's Reverend Tracy. And by the way, I just read this text going back to the service auction, that Luisa Rodriguez has a real auctioneer in their family who's often donates their time. So we may be able to not voluntold somebody, but actually get a real professional auctioneer for our. I was getting ready to voluntold my husband, but we might have somebody who's a real professional. So at auctioneering, that is. So that's exciting. Oh. All right, so just a quick reminder that we are, a church that needs a lot of participation. So we are looking for additional people who might want to help out. Lori is looking for another co-chair to help with just organizing the coffee volunteers, and then for potluck and things like that. So if you're interested in helping her out, she's right here. See her right after. Personnel is still looking for additional help. We are looking for a new chair for our IT committee. Dave would really like to retire, but we would like to have somebody who has that skill set. So you may want to do it, but if you don't know anything about computers, that's probably not the right job for you. So hopefully we're attracting some people who might have that expertise. The program planning team is always looking for people who would like to volunteer to be service leaders or to come up with finding new speakers. So you're welcome to join that team. And membership committee, always looking for new members to help out. And then there's always jobs that don't require you to commit to a committee, but things like coming here to work day to help with the enhancement of our outdoor space, coffee preparers and pourers, people to greet at the front door. You heard Margie say that we don't have anybody for next week even at the front door. So any of those things, please, if you don't know who to ask, just see me and I'll direct you to the right person, and we will get you connected with something that you can do. All right, so just a little wrap up here, and then we can open up for any questions. If you're on the council, you'll know you're on the council. Those are the committee chairs. Our next meeting is online on September 8th. We will have a new member potluck. We will have potluck on the same day that we have our new member ceremony and water communion. For those of you who are new, the water communion, traditionally you bring water from some places that you've traveled in the summer and bring it back to the congregation and talk about those travels. Of course, we forgot to get our water this year, but we always symbolically, one year we drank it, that was bad. It was from a river in Michigan, so it was pretty clean, but yeah, it was virtual. So you can bring your virtual water. And is there anything else anybody kind of wanted to bring up? I gave all committee chairs the opportunity to send me in things and slides, and this is what I got so far. So anybody else like to add or question or anything like that before we adjourn? All right, Joey's moved to adjourn. Any second? That's Chloe and Crystal. All in favor, say aye. All right, happy Sunday and enjoy your time. See? And now I think that was less than 45 minutes.